So let's get Castlevania Nocturne out of the way first, which debuted September 28th, 2023, and it's a series by Netflix. So this is our boy Richter Belmont. He's the youngest vampire killer wielder. He's the son of Just Belmont in one game. Is the great-grandson of Simon Belmont in one game. He has a strong sense of justice, has an unwavering will, is kind and caring to others, is known for being reckless, feels useless when there's no danger, and is taking on an evil priest named Shaft, who is trying to resurrect Dracula. Whereas the show has this Richter. Gains his vampire killer from his dying girl boss mother, is the grandson of the recluse Just Belmont, unspecified relative of Simon Belmont, is casually confident, has a flippant demeanor, has a drive caused by trauma, has emotional vulnerability, takes on impossible odds, is fighting an overpowered vampire demoness with the abbot to resurrect her because, spoilers from the first series of Castlevania, Dracula is still alive. Oh, but it doesn't end there. Castlevania scholars remember Richter's love interest, Annette? This is Annette Renard, or Annette in Dracula X. She is simply Richter's love interest. She's also a villager that was in the middle of the attack by Dracula. In other words, she was targeted. She's strong-willed, dislikes anything unfair, is kind and caring towards everyone, would defy death by someone else's hand, and is turned into a lesser vampire in another game. So Castlevania Nocturne takes place in 1792 during the French Revolution, whereas the Civil War didn't start until 1861. So knowing the current era, they couldn't help themselves. They turned Annette into this character, being part of a concerning trend where someone of European descent is turned into someone of darker-skinned descent. It's becoming less of an artistic choice and more of a calculated one. And it's always blondes or redheads. Go figure, when redheads are already a rare occurrence. But my problem isn't skin deep. No, it goes further than that. So she still serves the role as a sort of love interest, but that's when the similarities end. Because she's no longer a villager, but born into slavery and committed marriage. Which means, as a slave, she ran away. She was unfortunately an African slave, meaning she was part of a huge agricultural economy, which included, off the record, sugar, coffee, indigo, and tobacco. She was part of a French colony with a high mortality rate because of incredible violence, hardship, and disease. I don't know how she survived that. Lost her mother because she was committing witchcraft. Learns the ways of voodoo after she is a slave, which makes no sense because they would already learn about it when they were slaves. And what is voodoo, you may ask? It is a combination of teachings from the African religions and Christianity. It is in no way a form of witchcraft. It is merely a belief system. That is all it is. That's strike one to this series. And she's somehow a descendant of two African spirits, Ogun and Oranila. Both are Orishas, divine spirits that play a key role in the Yoruba religion of West Africa. This is Ogun. He's a warrior god in spirit of iron, war, metalwork, and rum. He's the god of iron and the patron deity of craftsmen and smiths. He has a dominion over iron, metal ores, and metallurgy. He can transform matter with fire and has an explosive and fiery nature. When he forges a weapon, it is usually a sword. Now Oranmila. He's a primordial Orisha, an Ara Orun, one that existed before the creation of humanity and resides in heaven. The Orisha of wisdom, knowledge, and divination.
There it is.
As well as philosophy, fate, destiny, prophecy, civilization, and enlightenment. Is considered a sage and walks the earth as a prophet. Now let's see how those reflect on Annette. First of all, she is not an Ara Orun, but an Iran Male or Iran Mole, a sacred being living on Earth. If she was a descendant of Ogun, she would have forged a sword instead of a dagger. And she would be able to produce fire, not earth. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, Ogun had the element of earth, but could not produce it. He was a blacksmith, which means he took the materials from the earth using fire and created metal. Iron. Netflix. Powerhouse animation. In what reality is being a blacksmith not cool? And instead of just forging weapons, she could also create other iron implements, including scissors, a wrench. She could forge guns! But they chose to make her a victim and to basically go through Oppression Olympics with Richter. I know you lost your mom, but I lost my mom too, and I was a slave. So I had a worse life than you, which made her absolutely insufferable. Apparently, women aren't allowed to be endearing and badass anymore. No wonder Gina was canned. I can accept that she was a slave, but she doesn't have to be a jerk about it. Not Richter or the rest of his bloodline was responsible for her suffering. It wouldn't kill anyone to actually look into how people acted in that time period. For once in your life, stop putting modern thought processes in the past. It's ignorant as heck. Because of that crap, it made her smug, dismissive, inconsiderate, subjective to a fault, hot-headed, short-tempered, callous, selfish, and overbearing. People who write characters like her should be ashamed of yourself. It's because of crap like this that the writer's strike happened. It's your fault. I hope punks like you get blacklisted. Get out of Hollywood. You ruined her. I never want to be gaslit by a female protagonist for the rest of my life. I am done with narcissists. Get rid of them. Now. Admittedly, I did trick you earlier. This is Maria. So let's look at her in the show. I honestly had no issues with her as a character. She's now 16 instead of 12. She has a siblingship with Richter. She still summons animal familiars and can wield sub-weapons, but now Terra is her mother, making her a speaker instead of a support character. And they made the priest that would have been Shaft into her father, which really complicates the nature of the church in this series to an egregious level. So this series shoves in the nature of the Catholic Church with the fathers that have relations with other people, as well as have a God-fearing person from the church have a gay relationship with an evil vampire. It's just, why? God is mentioned in this series. Satan is a actual villain in the Castlevania series. It's just, and they put in Sekhmet from Egyptian mythology? It doesn't make any sense. This show has the same logistics as an anime, but it's written like a Western cartoon. It just doesn't make a lick of sense. And then you add the deities from Africa into all of this. They have no loyalty to any theism whatsoever. Every single thing in this show is surface level. They just want to just change everything. They said it was an adaptation of Rondo of Blood, but I don't see it. I don't see a single iota except tiny, minuscule aspects of the original game in this show. It's not there. So let's wrap this up. Castlevania Nocturne gets 3 out of 5 stars. Maria was cool, Annette was awful, Richter was but he did look cool fighting. The youngest Belmont deserved better, and they greenlit a second season too. I swear, people are masochists.